Today, we're going to build a complete ComfyUI workflow from scratch, step by step, beginner friendly. By the end, you'll understand exactly what each node does, how to connect them, and how to keep your workspace clean and organized. I'll be using a sculptor analogy to explain the big picture of each step, and then I'll break down the parameters in plain English. First, we're going to start with a blank canvas in ComfyUI. To add any node, just right-click anywhere on the canvas and choose Add Node. From here, you select whatever node you need from the drop-down menu. We're going to start with low checkpoint because for the majority of workflows, low checkpoint will be the first one. The second way to add a node is by double left-clicking anywhere on the canvas. That'll bring up a search bar. From there, you can type in any node that you need. Our next node will be load LoRA, so that's what we're going to be searching. And then you just select it, and load LoRA is now populated on your workflow. To connect two nodes, click and drag from one output port to the matching input port. The colors need to match for the connection to work. So from the low checkpoint, you can see it's model in purple. We're going to click and drag that over to the model purple input port on the LoRA. You let it go, and now they're connected. Since our first node is low checkpoint, in our sculptor analogy, this is like hiring the sculptor who will make a piece. Their lifetime of training and style are built into this one node. And often, the files inside this node are referred to as models. So if you search the internet through any of the websites and they refer to it as a model, that's what they're talking about. This node gives us three outputs: model in purple, clip in yellow, and VAE in red. So you can see these two called clip, they're in yellow. So let's click and drag and connect them. You let go, and now they're connected. Okay, let's do the same thing for the VAE, but there's no connection point. So we're going to have to add a new one. So you're going to click and hold, drag to open space on the canvas, let go. It'll bring in this drop-down menu, and anything below search, common or recommended outputs from this initial node that you dragged from. So we're going to select VAE Decode. It goes near the end of the workflow. You don't know that yet, but I do. So what we're going to do is click and drag it and just move it probably twice the space to the right to give us some working room. Of what the load LoRA is, it's like sending our sculptor to a short masterclass to learn a specialized skill, like how to carve a certain texture or style. Parameters inside the load LoRA is the initial LoRA file, so maybe a skin texture, the strength of the model, which is how much it changes the sculptor's skill, so around 0.8. 1 is like a perfect match. Sometimes it's overpowering, so they're weighted numbers. The strength clip is how much it influences how the sculptor interprets your prompt. All these nodes are going to be working in sequence and in flow. So if you don't have a LoRA to use, you can bypass any node. Simply select the node that you want to bypass, hit Control B, and it'll gray it out, purple it out. But that'll bypass the node. So you don't have to delete it completely. You can just keep it in bypass mode. So if later you want to add a LoRA, you can just by clicking Control B, and that'll take the bypass off it. We're going to add the positive prompt, which is like telling the sculptor what to make. And by doing that, you click and hold the clip, drag and drop, go down to select clip text encode. I'll bring up this node, which will be our positive prompt. Now we're going to want to rename this positive prompt. And how you do that, double click the title. And now you've renamed this node. By the way, you can rename any node you want. Also, we're going to change the color of this node. Simply by clicking the node, click this color selector. I'm going to choose green for positive. And then we're going to go to the clip again and do the same thing. Go to clip text encode. I'll bring up another one. This is going to be our negative prompt. So we're going to change this title to negative prompt. We're going to make this color red. This way, it makes it easier for organization. So you don't have to guess which one is your positive and negative prompt. You automatically know because it's labeled that in the color coding. You don't have to do this part, but that's what I like to do. And just to clarify, the negative prompt is like telling the sculptor what you don't want in the image. Our next node is going to be the KSampler. So from the positive prompt, click and drag, go down to KSampler, select that. As you see, we're missing inputs for the KSampler. The first one being the model. That's going to go into the load LoRA. If you don't have a LoRA loader, you simply put it into the checkpoint. Next is your negative prompt. So you're going to click, drag, and connect it to your negative prompt node. Now we're missing one input, the latent image. So we're going to click and drag and go down to empty latent image. Select that. And this gives you the dimensions and the amount of images you create per generation. Now let's go to the parameters in the KSampler. The first is the seed, your random starting point. So same seed equals same results. Control after generate is a randomized, which means every time you generate an image, the seed will be randomized. Then you have steps, the number of denoising steps. More equals higher quality and slower. CFG is how strictly the KSampler follows the prompt. Then you have the sampler name, which is the algorithm used to denoise the image. The scheduler, which is the noise removal pacing method. And the denoise, how much to change the starting image. 1 equals fully. A lower number equals partially. From the KSampler to the VAE Decode. The KSampler basically creates the image, and the VAE Decode makes it to where we can see the image. Now from the VAE Decode, I'm going to click and drag, select Preview Image. Preview Image is so during the generation process, you can see how it's created. On longer workflows, this is important because you want to stop the generation if it's doing it poorly or not exactly how you want it to. That way you don't have to wait till the very end to figure out if you have a good image or not. From the same output of the decode, we're also going to drag and drop and select Save Image. This will be the final image and will be shown in your Outputs folder. So let's clean up our lines first. And by doing this, we go to the settings, which is this gear icon on the bottom left. And then you're going to select Light Graph. Scroll down to Graph. You can change any of them that you want here. I like mine being straight, but you can choose whatever you want. And to the link, they're default to circle. I prefer an arrow because it shows you which way the path is going. But we can make this a little bit better by moving these around. Now I have this VAE Decode. There's no real clean way I can make it look without it kind of overlapping anything. So we can simply detach it. And then from the VAE on our load checkpoint, click and drag. But this time, hit reroute. And I'll give you this little reroute node. And you can click and drag from there. I'll add another reroute node. And then connect. Now we have a cleaner looking workflow. So a couple more tips. You can click anywhere on the open canvas while holding Control. And that'll select multiple nodes. Or anywhere in the open canvas, you can right click, select Add Group. I'll create a grouping. Whenever you have a grouping, it's kind of like permanently selecting it. So a couple more tips. You can click Control and hold left click, select the box, and then you can move multiple nodes at a time. Also, when you get to bigger projects, or if you want to segment certain nodes, you can add them to groups. You right click, select Add Group, and that'll create this grouping. Add nodes to this group. You're going to want to expand this a bit and then move it to the nodes that you want. Now, whenever anything gets onto it, it'll stick to this grouping. So when you move this group, it'll move everything inside of it. Now, what I want to do is add everyone to this grouping. So select the corner, drag it out. Now everything's attached. So if I get a large workflow, click this group and move it wherever I need to. But you see how it's not exactly fitted? You can right click in this open space on the grouping, click Fit Group to Nodes, and it'll automatically resize it. Now that we have everything set and our workflow cleaned up, let's generate our first image. So we're just going to make sure load choke point's good, LoRA if we have one, positive prompt. I just put an elephant in a forest. For the negative prompt, I'll choose low quality. If you have multiple, you hit a comma and then type it in, depending on what checkpoint you use. Some you can just text in plain English. You don't have to use commas to separate them. You keep this normal or default, and you select run. Now you have your first image. Obviously, we can change it by adding higher steps for higher quality. We can increase the resolution. We can add more positive prompts and more negative prompts to get exactly what we want. All right, and that's it. Your first ComfyUI workflow is complete, organized, and ready to create amazing images. Now it's your turn to experiment. Swap models, try new LoRAs, and push your prompts to see what's possible. Thanks for watching, and if this helped you, give it a like and subscribe so you don't miss the next deep dive. Until then, happy creating.